Thank you so much. There was almost a clear penalty in that song as well. I don't know, so the ship moved and I went down like your favourite footballer. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for your time today. The guitar, the electric guitar. Can we go 15 minutes in a day without hearing an electric guitar? Well, not if you live next to me. You don't. Ladies and gentlemen, it's such an integral part of our growing up, our youth, the soundtrack to our youth, I think I speak to pretty much everybody, is the sound of some sort of the guitar, some sort of ukulele, some sort of banjo. Let me give you a quick geography of the guitar, so when I'm mentioning things, you'll know what we're talking about. So these things here, these things are called machine heads. I actually turn these to get the pitch of the note. So, and also, they're named after the famous song from this. The album that's got Smoke on the Water is called Machine Head, named after these lovely things. This is obviously the neck, of course. These metal bars here are called frets. Now, these give me the pitch. These are like piano keys. These give me the pitch of the note. And as I go up, there's a step up there. So these are the frets, and we call them frets because we worry about playing the right ones. It's a nightmare. Moving into this section, ladies and gentlemen, this is where it gets really quite technical. Well, in my opinion, it does for certain. These are called pickups here. These pick up the metal the frequency of the metal string, take it into here. These are pieces inside these black boxes, are pieces of steel, steel with wire wound around them, and there's 5,000 winds of wire in every pickup. So that means I don't get out much. That in each one of these boxes, there's 1 mile of wire. 3 miles of wire in this guitar. Wow, it really doesn't get out much, does it? That was a long lockdown, that was. Anyway, so ladies and gentlemen, so this is what happens is it goes into the pickups, out into the lead. But one of the aspects of we're talking about today is riffs, guitar riffs. What's a guitar riff? Well, first of all, what's a riff? A riff is short for a refrain, a melody that's repeated. So I'm just going to play a few riffs. When you recognize the riff, just shout out or put your hand up or something like that. And let's see where we go. So first one. I made that 1 second. Love Led Zeppelin. They're just amazing. Satisfaction, the Rolling Stones. Now, when I played that riff, ladies and gentlemen, obviously I can see everybody. I saw you smile, which is always a good sign, but that I played it kind of correctly. But also, when you hear a guitar riff, it's not just 1 second of music. It takes you back to where you were, what you were wearing, what you were doing, how you were dancing. All these scenarios, 1 second of music opens up a whole film inside your mind. I'm going to try a few more, actually. See, we've already done this one. So what about this one? Again, that was 2 seconds. I'm slacking a bit. Whole Lot of Love, Led Zeppelin. Again, it takes you back to where you were. Maybe you can actually see the album cover of Led Zeppelin 2 in your mind in this moment. And I'm not like some sort of like medium. Is there a John in the room? No. But you can see maybe the whole image and the whole aspect I can when I play this music. Let me try another one. Less than a second, Stairway to Heaven. We could do this all day, but you kind of get the idea of the guitar riff is such an important part of our lives, because if you're in a disco, do they have discos nowadays? I've no idea. If you're in a disco, if you're in the Queen's Room tonight and you hear a riff, you're thinking, great, I'm to the dance floor. You hear 1 second of the music and it makes you smile. It's a fabulous thing. So what's the basis of a riff? How do people get riffs? Where do you get a riff from? Well, I'm going to kind of choose probably the greatest one of the greatest riff writers of all time, Chuck Berry. Any fans of Chuck Berry? We love Chuck Berry. He changed the world, and there's there's many amazing facts about Chuck Berry, but one of the most amazing things about Chuck Berry is that after he was famous from 1955 kind of onward, it's impossible to play the electric guitar without being influenced by Chuck Berry. Even if you don't like him, he's in the DNA of the instrument. It's the language. So how did Chuck Berry actually come up with this type of thing? How did he write all these great songs? Of course, like any great artist, he had a great apprenticeship. He studied the blues. And the blues is central to the electric guitar. The electric guitar is, again, You can't play the electric guitar without being influenced by the blues. So, what did Chuck Berry learn? Well, one of the first things he learned was the thing called 12-bar blues. Anyone come across 12-bar blues before? Well, it's a structure of 12 bars, and in a bar of music, in this case, there's 4 beats. In a waltz, there's 3 beats. 4 beats in a bar. So, okay, we've got 12 bars, we've got 12 lots of 4. So what happens? Well, for any great structure, you need a beginning, middle, an end, back to the beginning again. So again, it doesn't want to be complex, because a lot of people were playing this type of thing. So this goes right back to the early blues, the turn of the century, turn of the early 1900s, and a long time ago. So I'm going to play a 12-bar blues, ladies and gentlemen, and I'll play the introduction, which will be this. Does that sound familiar to you? Well, that'll be the day. Well, of course, it's a Buddy Holly phrase, but Buddy Holly, again, went back to the blues. This is what we call a turnaround. Turnaround, because it goes back again. So let me play a 12-bar blues, and if you'll count with me, you'll see and you'll hear this. This is Rock Around the Clock. This is Caroline from Status Quo. This is Tutti Frutti. This is so many rock tunes are based around a 12-bar blues. So here we go. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 2, 2, 3, 4, 3, 2, 3, 2, 4, 2, 3, 4, 5, 2, 3, 4, 6, 2, 3, 4, 7, 2, 3, 4, 8, 2, 3, 4, 9, 2, 3, 4, 10, 2, 3, 4, 11, 2, 3, 4, 12, 8,040. So you see that this is Rock Around the Clock. This type of thing. So okay, so we've got the structure of the blues. So what happens is, okay, we've got this. How do we get a riff from this? Well, what happens is to write a riff, you either use notes that I'm playing here, or you use notes that I'm not playing, like that. It's like, okay. So all these riffs like this. All these riffs come from this, because those notes are being played by the rhythm guitarist. So what we're doing is we're implying this by playing this. This is called an arpeggio, which in Italian just means broken chord. So when the rhythm guitarist is going, the lead guitarist is going, he's playing notes that correspond to these notes here. So this is really interesting, because there's only 12 notes in a Western musical scale. So how is everything not the same? Because people like Chuck Berry went to the blues and they learned this type of thing. They learned this type of blues phrasing from B.B. King, Muddy Waters, Robert Johnson, Sister Rosetta Tharpe, all these great blues artists. So what Chuck Berry did was he learned the blues, and after the Second World War, people wanted something different. The teenager was now the focus for the marketing people. So I'm going to come to Chuck Berry in a second, but if I just give you this fact, which is really kind of sets the stage where we've got the music, but also the money men, which means there's going to be a lot of things going on. I'm not talking about football. It's the fact that in 1954, in America, there were 100,000 transistor radios sold in 1954. In 1957, there were 10 million mini record players sold. 10 million. That's without the records on top of it. Everything was the teenager was now the money-making tool for the marketing people. Rock and roll is a great vehicle. Not only have you got the clothes, you've got the music, you've got the clothes. The whole thing is based around the people wanted to make the money, and of course the musicians wanted to get famous. And this is what happened: is that Chuck Berry really, and he's a great guitar player. If you're wondering, is he that good? Well, yes, absolutely. So what he did was, we take a blues phrase, this type of thing, which is very common and great. But what Chuck Berry did is he kind of took it out of the blues context, more in the rock and roll, so it was less of a swingy type of, to this. That type of rhythm, more of a straight type of rhythm. So what we had is this type of thing. So if somebody could tell me which Chuck Berry song this is, I'd be delighted. So... any takers? My ding-a-ling, my ding... It's not my ding-a-ling. Sir, do you want to be good? Anything else? Roll over Beethoven? It could be many of them. And that's not derogatory, because what we have here is a signature. We have a calling card in this. That's less than a second long, and if we were to play that now with a band, the dance floor would be packed, because this is... But this is the really interesting fact about this, is that this comes from a chord is anything more than one note. It comes from this. We've got a target to hit. This is the target. And he stays on the target. And because it's very stable, it's like, yeah, I feel comfortable. If he went, it's like, oh, what the hell's going on there? Well, I don't know. But this makes us feel very comfortable because there's no musical tension in this. It's very, 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 there's no tension in that. It's kind of happy, happy, happy music. This is good. So this is where the riff comes from. And also, one of the aspects of the blues, which I'll play a blues tune in a second, actually, is the fact that why should Eric Clapton hear Robert Johnson, Muddy Waters, Charlie Patton, all these great B.B. King, all these great blues players? Why would Eric Clapton hear the blues and think, this is what I want to do with the rest of my life? Why would he do that? Why would Jeff Beck, Jimmy Page, Hank Marvin, all these players, why would they do that? I think the reason being is the fact that when we hear the early recorded blues records, we're hearing pure, raw emotion. And I haven't been drinking, well, only coffee, unfortunately, but we're hearing people just expressing. We're not hearing people thinking, yep, this is going to get me 1 million hits on Instagram and I'll be on, some chat show. We're hearing people stood in front of a microphone expressing the deepest thoughts. And this brings me to another really important point, is that music expresses things that we can't express in language. How Pink Floyd, Comfortably Numb, David Gilmour's guitar solo brings people to tears, especially when I play it. You think, oh my God, no, shut up. But music expresses things. Like if you heard I heard a tiny bit of Paul Potts last night, and I'm sure there was tears in people's eyes because it's very emotional music. When you hear that intensity, you hear this type of this thing. Why would it make us emotional? Because this is another incredible fact that I learned recently, is that listening to music changes the chemicals in the body. This is what happens is when we cry, it changes the chemical makeup of the body, which brings me back to a further point. Wow, I'm off the deep end now, and it's only the first talk. Is that why is music so tribal? Why does it bring people together? Because we identify with it. We want to be, when we hear Chuck Berry's music, we want to hear this type of thing. So Eric Clapton heard somebody, Robert Johnson, really expressing deeply what he felt about life. Crossroads. Robert Johnson wrote a lot of great songs like Hellhound on My Trail, Come Into My Kitchen, Dust My Broom, great wedding songs, I'm sure. But what happens when Eric Clapton, Jack Bruce, and Ginger Baker heard Crossroads, the not Meg Mortimer, the tune from Robert Johnson? It's, if you excuse the pun, it struck a chord with them, and they just thought, wow, I want to do this. So what the original for Crossroads is kind of usual. I went down to the crossroads, fell down on my knees kind of thing. It's a lot different than that, but that's the kind of feel for it. But what Eric Clapton did, he put his own riff in it. No, so he went from this to this. It's a 12-bar blues. So if you count with me, if this is a 12-bar blues with plenty of riffs and also plenty of improvisation. And improvisation is where riffs come from. People that improvise on the guitar and go, what shall I play? All that type of thing. So this is Crossroads. Down to the crossroads, fell down on my knees. I went down to the crossroads, fell down on my knees. Asked the Lord above for mercy, take me if you please. I went down to the crossroads, trying to flag it right. Down to the crossroads, trying to flag it right. Nobody seemed to know me. Everybody seemed to pass me by. Well, I'm going down to Rosedale, take my rider by my side. Well, I'm going down to Rosedale, take my rider by my side. It's still Bad House, baby. On the riverside. I do believe I'm sinking down. So much. Thank you very much indeed, ladies and gentlemen. I couldn't possibly do a riff talk without mentioning the Shadows. Any fans of the Shadows? Well, How we do for time? Oh, great, great. Well, this next tune is called Apache, and this was #1 in April of 1960, I do believe. Now, the Shadows are amazing. They're, again, fabulous music. Where did they come from? They listened to people like, of course, Duane Eddy, Chuck Berry. Again, going back to the blues people again. It really is interesting because everything goes back to the blues with the electric guitar for certain. Why does he sound so different, Hank Marvin? Well, of course, he's a magnificent player, and as is Bruce Welch, of course. But there's something different about his sound that I've never heard before when I first heard the Shadows. And I'll play Apache without any effect on it. And it kind of sounds like the Shadows a little bit. But what happens is if I play one note, can you hear there's another note going? And this is because it's called, Hank Marvin bought a pedal called a delay pedal. So I play one note, and it repeats what I play. The other guy's much better than I am. So when I play this with a melody, it gives it a lot of air. If I take this off and play it, the note stops when I stop it. But with a pedal, I stop the note, but it keeps going. So it repeats, and it's not cheating because he's playing the notes. This is what I call sonic sculpture. He's painting with music and with technology to do this. Technology, by the way, came from a man who was not only a virtuoso guitarist, had his own TV show, invented multi-track recording where you record on top of different instruments, and this type of thing, echo, a delay. Les Paul is one of the guys who changed the 20th century forever. And one of the great things I'd like to pass on before I play Apache is that if you have a phone with you, an Android phone or an iPhone, you've got more technology in your pocket or in your hand than the Beatles did to have to make Sgt. Pepper. Isn't that incredible? So they had less than we have in a watch almost nowadays. So this is Apache, and it's a great tune. If you want to dance, it goes like this. Thank you so much. Thank you so much indeed, ladies and gentlemen. So that's Hank Marvin Apache. I've got a couple more tunes to play for you. Just to say, I will be mentioning this again, but at 4 o'clock in here, ladies and gentlemen, any fans of Salvador Dali? Well, I'm going to paint one for you right now. 4 o'clock in here, there is a magnificent presentation from the Clarendon Art Gallery on Salvador Dali. And even if you're the most dedicated aficionado, you're going to learn more because they are encyclopedic, and it's a wonderful presentation on Salvador Dali. But the next artist I'd like to chat to you about is any fans of Jimi Hendrix? Jimi Hendrix. Well, my hero, my ultimate hero, actually, Jimi Hendrix. He played guitar. This is amazing. He played guitar start to finish for 10 years. That is utterly mind-blowing because when he made his first album, he'd been playing guitar for 6 years. That is incredible. He played, this is before he made his first album, he played with Little Richard, King Curtis, Sam and Dave, all these great artists indeed. And he spent a lot of time as a sideman, learning all this type of showmanship and things. But Jimi Hendrix just had that knack of just getting the most out of the instrument. Very influenced by sci-fi, which there's so much to talk about in a riff talk, but basically he wanted to make sci-fi sounds rather than just blues sounds that he had. For instance, Purple Haze. People often say to me, oh, it's about drugs. Well, it's not actually about drugs. I thought it was initially, but it's actually about a ray gun that was in a comic book from a Martian invasion, and he used the purple haze to invade the Earth. This is where he got it from. His nickname, his brother gave him the nickname Buster because every Saturday they would go to the cinemas and see Flash Gordon, Buster Crabbe. So Hendrix, I mean, I do a lot of stuff on Hendrix, and it's in this time, it's very difficult to fit everything in. But basically, Jimi Hendrix made so many great riffs. How did he do these? How did he make these great riffs? Well, he was influenced by the blues, of course, particularly Voodoo Child, because Voodoo Child is really unique. I can't think of another song that sounds like Voodoo Child. The opening, he uses a wah-wah pedal, and he doesn't even play any notes. Now, that to me almost sounds like a turntable with a hippity-hop type of thing. So Hendrix is influencing hip-hop before he does anything. Then he plays this riff. But with a wah-wah pedal, he literally makes it speak. And this is a pedal under my left foot here. It's not an accelerator. Wish it was. But this is what he does, is just to give you an insight. When I put the pedal back under my left foot, it takes all the mid out. When I put it down, puts it all back in again. And it's called a wah-wah pedal because it goes... Again, Voodoo Child, where did the lyrics come from? This is not a love song. This is not Unchained Melody. This is because Jimi Hendrix's grandmother was a Cherokee. He was part Cherokee. And Voodoo Child is about the Cherokee heritage. So again, it features a lot of improvisation and a lot of blues improvisation. So this is Voodoo Child. Thank you so much. to a mountain. I chop it down with the edge of my hand. Well, I'm standing next to a mountain. I chop it down with the edge of my hand. I might raise an island, little sand. Baby, raise a little sand. knows I'm a voodoo child. Right back one of these days. Didn't mean to take all your sweet things. I get ya right back one of these days. If I don't see you in this world, I'll see you in the next one. But don't be late, voodoo child. Lord knows I'm a voodoo child. Thank you so much. And breathe. Thank you so much, ladies and gentlemen. The guitar riff also unites people. Total strangers can go to a concert and become the best of friends for 3 minutes. How many times have you gone to a concert and the band play a certain song and everyone just goes crazy? It's a great thing. And I can't think of another art form where this happens outside of music. I can't think of anything else that happens outside music. One of the things about the guitar riff also is that sometimes it's single notes, as in sometimes it's 5, 6, 7 notes, like all right now, that's actual. And so there's so many aspects of it. Just very briefly, actually, because we've got the blues riffs. I'm looking at the time. Okay, we've got the blues riffs. Also, we've got riffs influenced by classical music. In a nutshell, Black Sabbath. I love Black Sabbath. Any fans of Black Sabbath? On Cunard? Yes, absolutely, ladies and gentlemen. They are our national treasure, as our Status Quo and all these great bands. Geezer Butler, the bass player, is in his bedroom, 15 years old of age. His mother downstairs is playing Holst the Planet Suite, Mars Bringer of War, which sounds like this. Heavy, heavy, heavy music. Geezer Butler's playing his rock and roll upstairs. He copies his mother's record. This is crazy because Black Sabbath, you know, but he copies his mother's record and plays this on the bass. Oh, they're the notes. And this becomes the song Black Sabbath, which changed the world forever, which I'll talk about more in the next session, which will be in a couple of days, ladies and gentlemen. But I'd just like to thank you ever so much. I'm half of a duo called Amethyst with my wife Catherine. Tonight we're playing in the Garden Lounge, so we'd love to see you there. This is such an amazing cruise because every cruise is amazing, but particularly because we're here to celebrate music. Doesn't that feel good? Amazing. Well, thank you very much. I should have started with that statement. Thank you so much indeed. And I'd like to finish this one with a great tune, if I can find it. It's the new one, which is, let me just get this a second. All right, then. There we go. So this is a tune which kind of sums up the guitar riff, ladies and gentlemen. So thank you so much. Have a wonderful, wonderful time. Salvador Dali talk is straight after this at 4 o'clock. I'd like to leave you this subtle ditty, a true story.
Sing with me. There she stood in the street, smiling from her head to her feet. I said, hey, what is this now, baby? Maybe she's in need of a kiss. I said, hey, what's your name? Well, maybe we can see things the same. Now don't you wait or hesitate. Let's move before the race the parking lot. We sing together, everybody now. It's all right now, baby, it's and everybody upstairs as well, together. It's all right now, baby, it's
Beautiful. You're booked.
Well, I took her home to my place, watching every move on her face. She said, hey, what's your game? Are you trying to put me in shame? I said, slow down, don't you go too fast. Don't you know that love can last? She said, love, Lord above. Now you're gonna trick me in love, and we sing together. All right now, baby, it's all right. It's all right now, sing, baby, it's and gentlemen, together. Everybody, upstairs, downstairs, yes. All right now, baby, it's like being in Venice, a bit more. It's all right now, baby, it's if you can hear me in the shops, together. All right now, baby, it's beautiful. One more time, everything you've got. All right now, baby, it's amazing. Thank you so much, ladies and gentlemen. Keep that applause going for Chris on Sound and Light in the Box. Thank you very much, Chris, indeed. Thank you very much. Thank you very much indeed.